Which 2 and 2 did you just recently put together? When I was a little kid, my dad had some friends over to drink beer and watch a movie. My mom made me play in the other room, because this wasn't a movie for kids. So I was playing in the living room as the men laughed, cracked jokes and loud music blasted from the other room. Eventually I wanted to see what the fuss was about, so I crept into the room in time to see a beefy mostly naked man chained to a bed. Immediately the men start shouting, "Get him out of here. Turn off the movie. He shouldn't see this." And they hustle me out of the room. Being about 6 or 7 I put the pieces together and think they were watching that man get tortured. Later, in my teens, a different answer occurred to me. They were watching porn. They were watching gay bondage porn. But it didn't make sense. None of them were gay. My mom was right there. Nobody was masturbating. What was going on? Were they watching it for laughs? Was there a woman I didn't see in the video? Years later I realized what should have been obvious given my long association with the stage show. They had been watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I walked in on the scene where Rocky breaks free of Frank's bedroom to run for freedom. At the end of first grade the teacher asked the class, "So who wants to stay here with me next year?" We all threw up our hands up excited, and she picked one of us. That kid stayed behind when we went to second grade. I think about this once in a while and feel thankful she didn't pick me. Last time I thought about this, I realized that I've been missing the mark. That specific student was being left behind that year and the teacher did it in the smoothest way possible. Despite living in various houses growing up, my dad's closet would always smell the exact same way. He said it was the mothballs that he used. Later when I tried pot for the first time I said, "This smells like mothballs." Everyone looked at me funny, and it still took days until I finally realized what that meant. There's a meme going around about making sure your young kids go to classmates' birthday parties because it's devastating to be a kid and have nobody come to yours. And I thought that I was damn lucky that, even though I didn't cast a wide net of friends, everybody always came to my birthday party. My mom was a teacher at my school. It never occurred to me until recently that some of those kids had a vested interest in making sure they came to my birthday party. Always thought whipped cream was difficult to make. My friends and I would get excited and impressed that this great place would make their whipped cream in-house as advertised for an extra $1.50. Can't begin to tell you how dumb I felt one day when I realized it is literally whipped cream. The blacks of the eye are black because there's nothing there. It's just a hole. You're seeing inside their eyeball, but you can't see anything because there's no light in there. No, me but a boss of mine just realized you can count the steps on a ladder to tell how tall it is. A chum bucket is where you'd keep fish guts, possibly explaining why Plankton's restaurant ain't so busy. WWE wrestler The Undertaker's longtime valet was named Paul Bearer, as in someone who carries your casket. In Spanish, hats are called sombrero because they make sombra, shade. PGP encryption at a lot of large businesses use stand for pretty good privacy. It's good to know data security is so important. Cul-de-sac means bottom of the bag, as in the only way out is where you came from. That my neighbors, 3 teenage boys, were the ones who actually struck and killed my dog when I was 12. They blamed a mysterious white Mercedes for it. My dad, who was abroad at the time, was devastated. My stepmom totally bought into it. It was 40 years to realize that there was never any white Mercedes. Ore-Ida potatoes. Crossed Oregon state line where factory was, into Idaho. Just then realized name. Jackie Chan is one person. My first language is Spanish, so I always thought it was Jack White Chan. The only movie I had seen him in was one with Owen Wilson, so I thought Owen Wilson was Jack and Chan was Jackie Chan. Sonic the Hedgehog's best friend is named Miles per hour. Miles per hour. How the F*** did this take nearly 30 years of life to see. Whenever you see weather stations on the news and notice, hey, I wonder why they went with some random town in the area when there are other bigger ones nearby, it's likely because there's a regional airport or small airfield. They all need accurate weather for planes to take off, including wind direction. intensity, and barometric pressure. So they have all the equipment available to show the bigger picture locally. They call it a disease because it puts the body out of ease. Why they are called contact lenses. I race cars in an amateur league. There is a blue 240SX with the name Blue Bayou. Mr. Dink from the 90s cartoon Dog. He and his wife are Dinks because it stands for dual income, no kids. If you recall Mr. Dink showing things off, that's why. Very expensive. My son was learning about inhabitants of Nova Scotia called Acadians who got relocated to Louisiana. Arrested Development. Not me, but my friends didn't know Tinder itself was a pun. Because when you swipe on each other, it's a match. Edit. Users are the Tinder for the match, to light up a fire. My car door was slightly ajar, not unusual. On Monday and all week I couldn't find my backpack, also not unusual. I lose S***T very often, and I was having a reunion with my friends all weekend. So I figured I was just S***TFACED and went to my car to my phone charger or something. When I was about 19, shortly after Christmas I went to get my wallet from the drawer next to my bed, only to find it missing. Thinking to myself, did I not take it out of my coat? I went to check, only to find it absent from there too. Panicking I realize I've likely lost my wallet, or worse, had it stolen, and start ringing to cancel my debit cards. A few days later, my dad hands me my wallet. It's missing my bank cards, and about 30 in cash I had in there, but things like my store loyalty cards, staff discount card for where I worked and ID cards. He says he found it in a nearby park, yet the wallet was clean. This is the same man who routinely needed to borrow money from me, over $1,000 at this point I'm unlikely to see again. I only realized the other day it's very likely that he took the wallet from where I kept it, took the money out of my wallet, and then I realized it was missing, before he had chance to put it back, then merely claimed to find it a few days after to avoid admitting to taking the money himself. That the word movies is slang that derives from moving picture. I'd never considered it slang before, and it still feels weird whenever I say it aloud now. Not extremely recently, but it took me 21 years to notice that my birthday is exactly 9 months after Valentine's Day. That's right, MOTHERF***KERS am a product of love. Edit. Just this week I realized that the icon for my clock app changes to show the current time. That the lines on the back window of my car are the defroster. I live in as in park in the garage, so I never get frost on my car. I'm 37 BTW. Nurse here. You can actually see the brain connection being made when you tell a teenaged boy that the brown ring around their penis is the scar from their circumcision. Alphabet equals alpha beta. Apparently everyone knows this. I'm in my 40s. My babysitter became basically family. She was an old woman and took care of us for like 20 years. Before I was even born she cared for my siblings. One morning she didn't show up to work. Didn't call. Nothing. Same thing the next morning. My mom went to her house and found she had passed away. She came home and told us kids. We asked a few questions. How did you find her? Well, she died in her car. Oh, okay. She must have just died of old age. She was like 74 after all. Years later I figured it out. Like 13 years. I was telling a friend about who she was and what she meant to our family. Then it hit me, like a ton of bricks. People don't just die randomly one morning sitting in their car at their house. Their bodies don't just shut down. She commits suicide at the age of 70 something by carbon monoxide poisoning. She turned the car on in a closed garage and ended her life. My parents didn't want to tell me or my siblings because they didn't want it to impact how we thought of her and what she meant to us as a family. She suffered from severe depression all her life, and as a kid I had no idea. It is truly heartbreaking because we loved her like a grandma. I wish she was still around. We are still friends with her sister, who is in her mid-90s, so our babysitter could still be here too. If you're suffering, talk to someone, because there are people who will want you around tomorrow and 20 years from now. Valve released Steam. Took me entirely too long to realize the pun. That my girlfriend taking a shower anytime her male coworker would text her wasn't a coincidence, and this morning I got the luxury of watching her take a nude selfie for another man. About a year ago I was thinking of growing some pickles in my backyard. I was frustrated, however, when I was googling how to grow pickles, and I couldn't find the information I was looking for. I was the tender age of 29 years old. Fez from that 70s show is actually spelled Fez, and it stands for foreign exchange student, cause they couldn't say his name. Blew my mind. One of my wife's cousins is named Tree, but that isn't his real name. He has the same name as his father and grandfather, making him the third, or Trez, which got turned into Tree. I've known him for more than 10 years, and just made the connection. Ray-Ban's ban race from your eyes. I'm embarrassed to admit I thought a guy named Raymond Ban owned a sunglasses business. Edit. Thanks for the silver. Figures that my most upvoted comment ever is about me being a dumbus. Co-pilots and the main pilot's assistant. They're just another pilot. When I was little my parents split up. My mother explained to me that my father has his poop all over the place and needs to get his poop in a group before I could see him again. It wasn't until 20 years later that I figured out getting his poop in a group meant he needed to get his S***T together. Edit. Wowza. This is my most upvoted comment by far. Thanks everyone. Hope you are all keeping your poop in a group, or are at least on the path to grup in your poop. That lamb was a nickname for William. Had no clue. Edit. I've annoyed an entire country with my top comment. Edit. Yes, Irish for William. The Irish shortened the name William/William hundreds of years ago, and it has become a common given name. Still a derivation of William. My friend recently suggested Freddie Mercury was called Mr. Fahrenheit because you put mercury in thermometers. When Bugs Bunny says wattle a maroon. On the side of the road you will often see a small weed that looks like a yellow flower. These are called dandelions. On the side of the road you will often see a weed that looks like a fluffy white flower which has seeds that come off in the wind when you blow on them. These are called dandelions. You would think that them having the same name would have given away the fact that these are the same plant. At 37 years old and having a degree in biology, I only realized this about a year ago. My wife had a pretty good laugh watching those two particular neurons stumble across each other in my brain. Fortnite is short for 14 nights. This little piggy went to market. Edit. Gold. This little piggy is going to the bank. Make sure to like and subscribe for more daily content. Thanks for watching.